Okay, so if we want to know where is rib 5 attached to, in here, does it articulate here, 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 rib 5? Again, all rib 5 with the superior hemifacet of its vertebral bone. So rib 5, find T5 vertebral bone here with the superior hemifacet. So the rib 5 would be here. Okay, rib 6, find 6 vertebral bone and with the superior hemifacet. So each rib will articulate with the superior hemifacet of its own vertebral bone. So for example, where would rib 7 be? Rib 7, no, here. Rib 7 is here because we know that below this is the next vertebral bone, and that is T7, and it will articulate with the superior hemifacet of that vertebral bone with its superior hemifacet, and half of it will also articulate with this to make a full circle. Okay, so I hope you understand it. Here is a quick simplified drawing. So we have 4, 5, 6, 7, T4 to T7, and if we look for articulations how the ribs would be, let's find where would rib 4 attach to. Rib 4 will be with the superior hemifacet of its own vertebral bone. So its own vertebral bone is 4, T4, and with its superior hemifacet. So here, and we said that all typical ribs, their heads have a crest separating it into 2 facets, a superior and inferior. All atypical ribs have a single facet. Since the typical ribs, which are the ribs 3 to 10, have 2 facets, their vertebral bones, so T3 to T10, will have hemifacets rather than full-size facet. Okay, so that half of the head, the superior portion, will articulate with the upper portion, so with the inferior hemifacet of the vertebral body above, and the inferior facet will articulate with the superior hemifacet of its own vertebral bone. To complete this tutorial, I'm going to now look at the atypical ribs. So we said that atypical ribs are T1, are ribs 1, 2, 11, and 12. 1, 2, 11, and 12. That's not 2, but not 2. 2. Rib 2. 1, 2, 11, and 12. So here we have vertebral bones. We start with the bottom, 11 and 12. Vertebral bones T11 and T12. And you can see, first of all, before we say anything, you can see that transition, T1 is so small vertebral body, then it gets big, 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 very big here. See how bigger the vertebral body has gotten. And that is a transition as you get closer to lumbar vertebra, which would be next. They have very big vertebral bodies, so you can already start to have the transition going to happen. And likewise, the spinous process going from pointy becoming square shaped, because we know that the lumbar vertebra, their spinous process is square shaped, so you can see becoming square shaped. Okay, so knowing that ribs 11 and 12, they have single facet, their head only single, there's no crest to divide it, it's just a single. You do not need to have hemifacets, okay, because there's no crest to fit in this groove here. Okay, it's a single head, so you cannot have 2 hemifacets for it. So these 2 vertebral bones will have only a full-size facet, 2 full-size facets, and there's only a single facet on the head. There's no superior inferior. So because of that, its corresponding vertebral bones only have a single full-size facet. And knowing that rib 11 and 12 don't have any tubercles, you can see that their corresponding vertebral bones, their transverse processes, don't have any facets like these guys do here. There's no facets on vertebral bones T11 and 12 because their ribs don't have any tubercle, and there are no hemifacets because their head has no crest to separate into superior and inferior facets. T1 is exact same thing, because first of all, there's no, above T1 starts the cervical vertebra, right? C7, C6, C5, so forth. And rib 1 also has a single head. There's no crest to divide it. Has a single full facet. There's no hemifacet. But rib 1 does have a tubercle, and that's why the transverse process, its corresponding vertebral bone, does have a facet on its transverse process. Okay, T2 to T9 or T3 to T9 will have, like we showed in the previous, two hemifacets, because starting here in this span we have ribs having two heads, the head with a crest separating superior inferior facets, which will articulate the superior with the inferior hemifacet of the vertebral bone above, inferior facet with the superior hemifacet of its own vertebral bone. Okay, so that's what we talked about just a few minutes ago. And finally, vertebral bone T10, it does not have, it has a hemifacet, superior hemifacet, so you would see which rib would come right here. If this was T9 and T10, just ignore that T2 there, which rib would come here? It would be rib 10, right? With this inferior facet of the head with the superior hemifacet of T10, superior facet with the inferior hemifacet of T9, rib 10. But since we know that T11, atypical rib, only single head, all of which fits here, you do not need to have a hemifacet here. So rib 10 only has a superior hemifacet. These guys have two. This, and this have a single full-size facet, and no facets on the transverse process. Okay, so thank you for watching.